see for other for people who wanted to be with us today so they can join. So first, let me welcome you to today's online event. We called Youth for Heritage, Reimaging Cultural Heritage Skills to Embrace the Digital and Green Transformation. My name is Jasna Popovic, and on behalf of the European Heritage Youth Ambassadors, I have the honor to be the moderator of today's session. First of all, I would like to wish you a happy World Youth Skills Day. It is with this occasion that Europa Nostra and ESACH have teamed up and organized this amazing webinar, but also as a contribution to the European Year of Youth. As you may already know, they have a long-standing relationship in all activities youth-related, one of them actually being the program I'm part of this year, European Heritage Youth Ambassadors. The idea that we have behind this event is to get insight from young people, from young emerging experts, and to create discussions and exchanging ideas on digital and green transformation. Finally, before I give the floor to the first speakers, as the time is quite tight, I would just like to quickly get over some housekeeping rules. So please have your mic turned off unless speaking. If you have a comment or a question or an idea, or you want to share your thoughts, you're more than welcome. Please do that in either, in two ways, either during the tour de table when you can raise your hand, or you can write us in the chat session. If you do so, please indicate the person that you want to ask the question to, so I can read it out loud and sparkle the debate. Finally, we invite you to have your camera on, but please be aware that the event will be video recorded and some additional photos taken. So having said all of this and having welcomed you this sunny Friday day in the mid-July, I believe that my 3 minutes of introduction have come to an end. So without further ado, I have the great pleasure to introduce you to our first introductory note speaker, Snezka Kvatlich-Mihajlović, Secretary General of Europa Nostra. Snezka, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Jasna. A very good morning or good day to all of you across Europe. Thank you so much for doing me the honor to inviting me to an event which is reserved for the youth. So it feels, energizing, rejuvenating for me as Secretary General of Europa Nostra to be in your company, to see you all on the screens, and especially thank you for giving me the floor on the World Youth Skills Day. So, I feel an honorary member of the youth network of Europa Nostra. So we really attach great importance to this rising subgroup of our family, which is the extremely important one, with our young members. As you know, I think, Manon, we have how many? Over 200, 300, even more?
500.
500 already,
yeah.
500 young members. It is the rapidly growing group of members within the Europa Nostra family. I'm always calling it family because we are so much more than an organization. We are a formidable family. We have the European Heritage Youth Ambassadors, and I think a couple of the ambassadors are attending. Jasna, you and Tiago and a number of us. This is a great initiative with ESACH and the European Heritage Tribune that we launched, and then of course European Year of the Youth. So perfect moment to tell that it's not only the old generation taking care of cultural heritage. There is a sort of an increasing number of young people who are getting engaged and who understand that in today's world, which is marked by anxiety, but by so many disruption on all level of democracy, level of climate change, war, that sort of we need more than ever this heritage, which is an anchor anchor in time, anchor in space, tell us, who we are, not only today, but where do we come from, where do we go, and so the idea that this is less important because we are entering in a digital world, it's simply not true. And I hope you will, in all your conversation, while embracing fully the digital skills, the analog skills remain extremely important. And heritage is so much about analog way of our life, but when it is well combined with digital skills and a digital dimension, then it is a winning combination. And that is something that I believe you will be very much discussing, because it's something that I'm very often upset when I see the European leaders just talking about the digital world. The digital becomes an objective. Digital is not an objective. Digital is a tool, it's a skill, it's a dimension, but it's not our objective that humanity will become digital. And there, I hope that's, forgive me if I pass you this message, but heritage is in that there come, whether is cultural heritage or natural heritage, because I think among our speakers, we will have one of our award winner, Sentiero from Italy, clearly showing that culture and nature go hands in hands. It is the two sides of the same coin, and that is part of our cultural heritage. I don't know whether we have among the participants, Manon, someone from Ukraine who connected with Ukraine. Do we have? If we have, can you speak?
Not that I'm aware of.
No. Okay, but how not to mention and express sort of our solidarity with our colleagues, our friends, our fellow Europeans in Ukraine, with everything that is going on there. And I say it with so much emotion, because I come from a country which doesn't exist anymore, Yugoslavia, and the country also that Jasna, you were born when Yugoslavia didn't exist anymore. Still it existed, but anyway, so
yeah, it existed.
It existed still when you were born, but it
the
is
last one.
the part of our Europe that, alas, has also in the 90s has gone through a horrible war, and has caused so much damage. First of all, human losses, but also on cultural heritage. And this is again and again happening in Ukraine. I hope you have been following our activities there, where we have created some kind of solidarity human chain with heritage professionals and the defendants in Ukraine, and created through fundraising something we have never done before, a heritage solidarity fellowship for Ukraine. And so, Manon, I hope that through that network, also some young heritage professionals, it would be good that this group of people is also aware of what's going on, and that you have your fellow young members of our young network also in Ukraine. Just a little bit focusing on skills, because as Jasna said, this is the World Youth Skills Day. It is so you want to focus on the skills, and rightly so. You have pointed out that the educational and training systems in Europe are not adapted to so many challenges that we are facing today. We all need to transform fundamentally our way of life, our society. We have to speed up, intensify the climate action. We have to have a greener way of life, greener attitudes towards our environment, more sustainable. and then more inclusive, of course, to use the three, and more beautiful solutions for the way we're dealing with our environment, more sustainable, more inclusive, more beautiful, the three famous principles of the new European Bauhaus. I'm sure that all of you have been following the new European Bauhaus initiative. We are one of the partners, and so we also look very much forward for your input in the sort of in the messages that we can and not only messages but action that we can take in order to make this really a reality and not just a wonderful slogan or a wonderful initiative without really action on the ground. And so that means that we together, and I'm delighted that we also have a representative of a charter project, which is exactly the European project focusing on the question of heritage and skills, so that you will be analyzing where are the gaps, and what are the ways to overcome these gaps, what kind of solution we can have. And this we can only do with your voices, not talking about the young people that needs to be engaged, but saying the young people have to be very much part of that dialogue, part of the searching for the solution. And that's why I'm so happy that this also webinar is taking place, and that this group of young people within the Europa Nostra is really becoming, with ESACH, with Future, is Heritage Initiative, and many more initiatives that we are just coming together. That's also one of the obsession of my life. I can't stand fragmentation, building bridges, making so much synergies between various initiatives. We can't afford not to work together. And that's why I hope that all that will come wonderfully together during our European Cultural Heritage Summit that will take place at the end of September in Prague. Hopefully there won't be another surge of the pandemic, and we will all be there in person, with full of life, bursting of sort of wishing to overcome all this, even overcome the war through being together, what we called with Manon a value-based and culture-based Europe. That's something that we want to promote in Prague, and I really hope that many of you will be with us in Prague, and I look forward to meeting you in person. For now, I wish you a very, very good webinar, and look forward to hearing the conclusions and the key messages that I want to share.
Thank you, Snezhka. It was truly an inspirational speech rather than the introductory one, but as always, you try to sum up all the ideas and all the topics that we will talk about today. I'm not sure if you can stay with us till the end, so I just wanted to let you know that already in the chat, people are responding, letting you know that you have great opinions, and I think that we can all agree on that. So stay as much as you can, stay as long as you can, and then we will see each other and some other culture event occasion. Next in line to share her thoughts and ideas is Carlota Marijuan Rodriguez. She's president of ESACH. So Carlota, the floor is all yours. And please continue enlightening us and inspiring us.
Thank you. Well, I think I have some big steps to follow after Snezhka's amazing speech. Thank you so much for inviting me today. And thank you for organizing this webinar. I'm really excited to be here and to discuss this topic that is really close to my heart. Well, I think we all know that the younger generations are in fact the ones that are leading this revolution, the green and digital revolution in Europe. Most of us are digital native, and in workplaces and institutes all around Europe, we are bringing in the new technologies. We are acting as ambassadors for digital tools and digital systems, and we are supporting the older generations as well as we move in this transition. In doing this, we are bringing a constant influx of new ideas, of processes, and we are connecting, very importantly, the universities, the research centers, and everyday heritage practice. On the green transition, We are untirable advocates for sustainability. We are actually a generation that knows that resources are limited and that we can do better to have a sustainable future for all of us. Wherever you go, there are young people thinking about waste reduction, about climate action, about circular economy. And we are always asking for those small details like recycling, bike parking, vegetarian meal options. We know that we have a new way of looking at our life choices, and that every little decision we make, it really matters. And I know that for most of us, this feels like a heavy task, that some of us are feeling frustrated, that the pace of change is too slow, that there's not enough action, that our actions are a bit sometimes too small to really make a difference. And when you think about the amount of work that is left to do, from heritage registries to archives, museum collections, traditions, heritage practices, there is just so much work to do. How are we going to communicate them? How are we going to make them accessible, to document them? We have so much work to do, really. But I think that we are in a perfect moment, because there is 142 million young people in Europe, 142 million. So really, if we cannot do it, like, no one can. I'm pretty sure about this. So we have the vision, we have the skills, we have the mindset. We really can do it, and we have to do it. I really think so. And as Sneska was saying, we can only do it if we come together, if we learn from each other, if we take care of each other, and we support one another. I really think we need to promote interdisciplinary exchanges, and to have innovation and agile processes, which is where the youth comes in. This is our strong point. And especially we need to come together to explain to all the older generations why they need to trust us, why they should also invest in us, and to give us the tools and the power to actually change the systems and the way we are working. I think we need to take the lessons from our historical past, from our heritage, and supercharge them with digital technologies to create a green future. We need to create a development that is socially, environmentally, and economically sustainable. And how do we do this? Well, this is what we are here to discuss. No, I really look forward to learning about your points of view. Thinking about it, I had 3 main ideas on how we can do this, and please let me know what you think. The first one, I think, is we need to promote youth-led and peer-to-peer exchanges and networks. It doesn't matter if it's casual, structured, in person, remotely. I think we are creating the systems ourselves. No one is going to teach us. And so we need to learn from each other. We need to do it in a way that is not disciplinary, that is not methodical, maybe, that is bringing different approaches together. Second point, we need to develop our practical skills. We need to find especially those skills that are more scarce amongst the older populations, older generations, because then we can find the gap where we can insert ourselves and we have more lever, we have more power because we have the skills. So some of the gaps that I can see is communications, digital documentation, mappings, and all kinds of digital skills. This is an asset for us. We can be instrumental if we make the most of this opportunity. And the third one, and I'm so grateful for Sneska for saying this, we need to find our allies. There are people that really believe in youth, that they will support us, and they will see the potential of investing in us. We have so much to learn from them, and also we can also teach them some things. So we need to find these allies, these people in all generations that can help us to bring this vision to reality. And so, well, these are some of my thoughts, but of course, there are only some of the potential solutions I can see. I really look forward to hearing about your ideas and hearing about your exchange and hearing these exchanges. Also, before I forget, if you're not already a member of ESACH, I invite you to join us. We are also working very closely with Europa Nostra, and I'm sure we have a great future ahead. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Carlota. That was also very inspirational. I've taken all the notes. I believe I have your basic ideas written down, so we can also go back to it after this presentation, this tour presentation during the Tour de Table. Without further ado, now we're going to pass to the amazing project.
Sorry to interrupt you, Jasna. I just want to tell you also that Carlota is not only president of ESACH, She's also council member of
also member of the
that was also
Europa
a very
Nostra.
important statement that we have made. You have your person inside our council, so you know, use the windows and doors are wide open.
Great, thank you, Snezka, for reminding us all that. But it is also very important to have young people within the institutions that are making the decisions and leading the policies and creating programs and ideas, so we can raise our voice properly and timely and in the right place. So thank you, Carlotta, for being our voice within the council. And now going back to the inspirational pitches, or shall I say we continue with them, because the two introductory ones were also quite amazing. First, we have Alejandro Quesedo del Val. He's Youth UNESCO Climate Action Network. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us today, but he's sending his regards and he's sending a video, so we can later on discuss also his thoughts and maybe get back to him with our new ideas and our opinions. So Manon, if you please can launch the video. Thank you.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, well, while we are waiting, I also wanted to thank all the participants and so thank everybody who is following us. So there are more than 35 people connected, and we also wanted to let you know that this is part of Youth for Heritage initiative. So this is not a one-time thing, it's not one-time event. Europa Nostra and ESACH are trying to create a network, and you're more than welcome to join us there. And I think that now we have the video, or maybe not yet.
I'm not sure. I don't seem to be able to find it.
Well, if you all agree, then we can skip to Sarah, because Sarah is here with us. She could make it. And in the meantime, you and I will do some backdoor magic to find Alejandro's video. So Sara Furnaletto, she's co-founder of Va Sentiero, this year's European Heritage Award laureate. Sara, it is so great to meet you, and please, the floor is all yours. So there you go.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I'm very grateful and honored to be among you. And be part of this webinar and share the experience with Va Sentiero. So yes, I will have a presentation that you can follow. So let's start from the beginning, I would say. Va Sentiero, what's Va Sentiero, which I represent? Va Sentiero is an experimental grassroots project which was born in 2017 with the aim of revamping the Sentiero Italia, which is the longest mountain trail in the world and crosses, as you can see from the image, it crosses the whole of Italy from north to south, including the islands, for about 8,000 kilometers. So this trail touches hundreds of ancient villages and 16 national parks. And therefore it represents a great resource to tackle climate change and also socio-cultural marginalization of internal areas, because it can absorb an important part of the growing demand for slow tourism and thus constitute an asset for the sustainability of local communities. Next slide, please. But despite being such a treasure and also a bridge to Europe, if you think about it, when we discovered it in 2016, it was completely unknown. So we were honestly upset about this discovery. But this is what pushed us to try and create an impactful and participative project using and promoting the Sentiero Italia as a way to raise awareness about Italian highlands in general, both as a natural and a cultural heritage. Next slide. So Pasentiero is a team of young professionals, and as a team of young volunteers, we committed ourselves to organize an experimental and participative expedition on foot along the whole Sentiero Italia, based on a simple philosophy: walk, discover, and share. Next slide. It took us 2 years to work on the organization of this experience. We made it economically sustainable. And finally, in May 2019, we set off for the Sentiero Italia. It was the National Year of Slow Tourism. And then we had to complete it in 2020, but due to the global pandemic, we completed the expedition in September 2021. I wanted to also show some of some images from the expedition, from the experience. So we can now play the video from the next slide. The video will be silent and I will keep on talking to you, but I warmly invite you to watch these and more videos. We have a documentary on our YouTube channel, so you can have a better idea of what I'm talking about. Is it possible to play the video from the presentation? Oh, great. Thank you, Manon. Okay, there is some advertising. Voila. So our project, the Pasentiero project on the Sentiero Italia, was based on actual hiking, a multi-layer documentation of the trail and territory's vocations, as well as the problems linked to climate change, a virtual dissemination of the discoveries we did, because as we said, digital skills are very important, but also public participation through hikes and cultural events, because analog skills are fundamental as well. And so active engagement with local communities, and in time we built a network both with private and public stakeholders on a national scale. And thanks to the teamwork and dedication, but also the wider support of all the network we built in our community, we have achieved all the goals that we had set ourselves. I will mention you just the most significant ones. So in the three years expedition, we had about 3,000 people from 10 different nationalities who joined the expedition for one or more stages. We have organized about 100 public events along the way involving the local communities. Day after day, we talked about our journey through our social networks and some exceptional media partners, so to involve an increasingly diverse audience. And then we published a free and interactive guide on our website, pasentiero.org, which is complete with all technical and cultural documentation about the trail, so that anyone can use it to get inspiration and actually use it to go and explore the trail. And then a great news that came in 2019 is that the Italian Alpine Club, which is the biggest institution regarding the mountains in Italy, has launched a major restoration project about the Sentiero Italia on a national scale. So in addition to being known, the trail has become practical again, sorry. And then finally, we were able to involve and collaborate with a variety of stakeholders, so to amplify the voice of the mountains and contributing to tackle the gap between mountains and city, because that's a big topic. We can now move to the last slide. So I will let you finish the video on your own. To tell you what point we are now, because we are an association. So we concluded the expedition and the work on the website, and now we are working on developing new outputs and dissemination projects about the Sentiero Italia, because the work to do is so much. But we are also committed to working on new mountain scenarios and territories in Italy, but we would really like to work abroad and share our expertise. So applying and implementing the format we have we have tested, we have created on the first expedition. So we would really love to collaborate with European partners and share this format. So that's it. That's my. I really hope I gave you a good picture of Vasentiero, but I will be happy to receive your thoughts, your suggestions and questions about any aspect of the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. It looks amazing. So after doing St. James Way here in Spain, I think a lot of people would also would like to do the Italian one, and it looks amazing. The photos are just breathtaking. And thank you for sharing. And I didn't get a chance to say, but well done for the award this year. So
Thank you.
I hope to see you in Prague as well for the official ceremony when we can truly celebrate all the amazing projects of this year's
We're very
Europa
excited
Nostra
about it.
Heritage Awards laureates. Okay, so I
Jasna?
think that we can.
Sorry, again me. I'm sorry, I will have to leave you, but I just want to say, Sarah, I got tears in my eyes when I was listening to you and watching the video, and especially the text that was going with your images and the messages that you are saying. I said to myself, they want to make a more beautiful Europe. The Europe is so beautiful. We just have to walk it, discover it, share it, and see it and feel it. So I want immediately, everybody knows that I always give homeworks immediately when I meet somewhere. So I think your homework is that, and with Manon, with Jasna, with all the others, I hope the next meeting will be hiking, walking. Sarah and Sentiero has to organize for our youth and less young as well, young at heart, that we organize. I think that will be a fantastic message for Europe if we can organize together a walking expedition and pass all these messages in these extraordinary ways. So I leave you with that, and I want to be with you when this is going to be happening, and I wish you all a wonderful rest of this webinar. And see you in Prague. See you in Prague. Bye.
Thank you, Snezka. We will let you know all the conclusions and ideas that we come across, and then you will give us some more homework, I'm sure.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Bye.
See you. Thanks for joining. Well, thank you again, Sarah. And I would like then to continue with our present speakers. So Tiago Candeias. He's our European Heritage Youth Ambassador representing Portugal, but also representing youth in general in Europe, I think, as we are all very mixed and we all very much like to embrace this European spirit, especially in this year of youth here in Europe. So, Tiago, the floor is yours. And in the meantime, fingers crossed that we solve the solution, that we find the solution for the videos. Thank you, Tiago.
Thank you, Jasna. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me well and you can see my presentation. First of all, I would like to thank you, of course, Europa Nostra and ESACH for having me here. I'm super excited for this webinar. And I will start talking a bit about my education and academic background. So I did a cultural heritage and archaeology degree here in Portugal. And then I finished this year my master in history and heritage as well, and an advanced program in cultural heritage management. So all my education was in the cultural heritage field, specifically here in Portugal. But unfortunately, it is also, the curricula was super concentrated in history and history of art. So not that, since we are talking about today digital transition and green transition as well, I was kind of prepared myself what to do now with this in the real world. Where is the green and digital transition in this programs, and how these curriculums are really trying to fill the gaps and the needs from the cultural heritage field. And this was one of my main worries when I was doing my master. And I used to say that I'm a dreamer, so I always look for a challenge. And I tried to turn this into a challenge because I was not seeing me anymore studying a specific period of art or paintings or sculpture or something like that. I was wishing to give something more and to push it forward. So in 2020, I was taking an internship at the municipality of Faro in the scope of the candidacy for the European Capital of Culture 2027, which unfortunately we were not shortlisted in last March. And I was also in the phase of choosing my topic for the master thesis for my research. And then the pandemic happened. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do in my internship in my master thesis? Because I was trying to put all together and work at the two things at the same time. So doing some practical work and researching it as well. And then we all noticed that the digital transition had a boom in our everyday lives. We were amazed by the digital, and one of the main fields that were impacted, as to say, was the education field. So that's why when I started to think about heritage education as a possible thing to explore. And in the other hand, I was knowing that Minecraft, the famous video game, was being used in education, but as well in urban planning and participatory and co-design processes. So that made me a click, because we were all stuck at home for the second time in the beginning of 2021. And that made me a click to why not to put these things together and to combine Minecraft, build heritage, and education. And that's when my Momo Faro, the Minecraft and Modernist architecture project, came up. And we did this as an educational project, a pilot one, where we challenged the teachers, schools, and students to explore their curricula and the 21st century skills while rebuilding iconic modernist buildings in the Minecraft education platform. So it was the way we thought, okay, this is the greatest opportunity we have to put cultural heritage into the education sector, not as an extracurricular matter, but really integrating that in the curricula that the teachers had to do. So were we crazy? Could it have gone wrong? Of course, yes, it could. But good news, it didn't. And in the first edition, we were able to engage more than 13 different subjects, so 13 different curricula: math, physics and chemistry, visual arts, history, French, English, so many of them, as well as some of them more connected with the digital. We gave training to 15 teachers and engaged more than 120 students in the first edition. And then we were taking a second edition with a lot more of participants. So these are some of the results that the kids did in Minecraft, using the original blueprints and projects from the architects. They rebuild the buildings in the platform. And we are not only talking about digital transition, as to say, because we were able also to put the sustainability here in the topic, because now the teachers and the students change their look towards this architecture, this recent heritage that in our vision was more at risk because now they want to protect and preserve these houses. So we are trying to contribute as well to this green transition and to this sustainable world, not constructing more and more houses when we have good ones and important and valuable ones that we can protect and preserve. And so to conclude my pitch, I really think that the young generation is really more aware and open to change and to innovate. And it is so important, this kind of initiatives like the Youth for Heritage Network and the European Heritage Youth Ambassadors Program that me and Jasna are taking part, because we have a lot to learn with each other. And I think this is only able to do with this intergenerational dialogue. And it's so important that Europa Nostra and ESACH are giving us space, giving us a voice, believing in our crazy ideas and trusting us to really prove that we can do something different, and we can also teach the older generations. So my message is that we have a lot to learn with each other. So let's go together. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much, Tiago. Indeed, we have to learn. We have a lot to learn from each other. So next time when I see you in person, you have to explain me how math goes into all of this and another subject. Some of them I think I have an idea, but having 14 different subjects included, it sounds amazing. And I'm fingers crossed for you to have 3rd and 4th and 5th edition, and to go all scale possible, and to enjoy the project and further develop it. And now I think we can go back to the Alejandro's video, as we hopefully found a way to put it on. Manon Miruna, I think that we can hear Alejandro's words.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alejandro Quecedo, and it's such a pleasure to be today with you in the Youth for Heritage event, although it is sadly in a pre-record form, and I actually have to apologize not for being today on live, but sadly I find myself currently in Valdevacas de Montejo, a really little village with no internet connection at all in the northeast of Segovia, and it was impossible to join live. So you may ask what I'm doing here in this little village, and the truth is that we are actually in a summer camp trying to educate the new generations on the climate emergency, on empowering them to take also climate action, not only in the climate field but also in biodiversity and all other forms of ecological action. And we're doing this through 2 classical ways. On the one hand, through the natural heritage. We're actually in a natural park which is full of different astonishing richness, but also through cultural heritage. This little village includes some secrets, and I say secrets because they've been totally forgotten by our societies, but they were not secrets at all for our grandparents. Our grandparents, who used to live in these little villages, they left behind them a very rich heritage on different ways to treat nature, on different ways of having a relation with nature, which is conscious, which is full of emotion, and which is actually quite sustainable. So we're discovering how our grandparents 100 years ago, they were doing things right, things that we are currently doing wrong. But I don't want to extend myself in this little example, which although significant and although really illustrative of the situation and how cultural heritage can help the climate action movement, I would like to move straight forward to 3 insights that I would like to share with you in this event. I think that you're a community of change makers, and I would like that to generate these synergies with these 3 different insights that I would like to share right now. So when we talk about climate action, when we talk about environmental crisis, and when we talk about heritage, sometimes it's really difficult to build the bridge between both of them. Actually, I found myself in these really amusing situations when you are in a cultural heritage forum and you talk about the necessity to put climate action forward in the agenda, and everyone looks at you like you were saying something that is nuts, that is absolutely crazy. But the exact same situation repeats itself if we change like a mirror the roles. And if you say in a climate conference that actually heritage should have a more prominent role in this situation. So why do I keep saying this, even though everyone take me for a mad person? Well, I think that heritage and climate have 3 main poles of action that we should really look into. First of all, and this is a truth that sometimes we don't really put attention into it, but we should start to be more conscious about it, and is that our heritage is actually endangered by climate change. We are talking about weathering conditions, we are talking about the rise of sea levels, we are talking about climate disasters, about fires, we are talking about so many different forms of heritage that are endangered by climate change. I'm not only referring to physical heritage, to monuments, but also to different forms of non-tangible heritage. Take, for example, popular songs, popular legends, all of them that have different references to our natural cycles. They are vanishing. For instance, in Spain, we have a writer called Gustavo Adolfo Becker, who wrote this really beautiful verse in "Will the swallows come back next summer?" And even though these verses have been repeated generation after generation for centuries, right now they are stopping to make sense, because the swallows, as they are a bird that they are becoming more and more scarce, they are stopping to come back to our villages, and it's a form of intangible heritage that is no longer speaking to the new generations. So here's our first insight. Heritage is actually endangered by climate change. But let's go into the ones that I find myself more interested in. Heritage can also be a climate hub. You know this better than I do. Heritage is surrounded by so many different vectors of change. We're talking about sectors of expertise, we're talking about tourism, we're talking points of encounter, we're talking about different communities. Heritage does not only mean heritage. Heritage does mean people. Heritage does mean new narratives, means new societies, new ways of doing things. And in all of those, if we manage to merge heritage with the climate awareness, with the climate emergency, we can also accelerate climate action. And heritage can be an incredible ally for this. But when we're talking about climate action, when we are talking about beginning with the new green transitions, we're actually talking about a really deep and transformative change in our societies. It's not only needed to change the way we do things, but also the spirituality and emotions that we put into them. We actually need a paradigm shift. And in this sense, I believe that heritage can be a threshold. Heritage should be this sort of experiences, this sort of shocks that takes us into into the land of the unknown, into a new ways of seeing, new ways of feeling, new ways of actually living. And if we make of heritage this threshold into a new subjectivity, we can actually start developing a new subjectivity into climate action, into a green future, a future that is not only sustainable with the climate and the nature, but also with the people and the heritage. Thank you so much.
Well, that was amazing. I didn't know Alejandro was so close to me. So maybe this weekend, if he's still in the summer camp, I might change my plans and go see him and let you know our thoughts and ideas. But since we can't interact with him, I will skip right to the next one. It's going to be also a video from Emilia Sanchez Gonzalez. She's digital media coordinator at ESACH. However, with us, we have her colleague, Vibhuti Yadav. She's a web editor at ESACH. So Vibhuti, please feel free to go right after the video that hopefully we can launch now. Okay. Thank you, Miruna.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emilia Sanchez Gonzalez, and I'm the Digital Media Coordinator of ESACH. Today, I'm sharing with you a quick insight into our journey over the last couple of years, growing from a small network to a bigger network of youth that reaches all across Europe and beyond. And we've done this mostly digitally. My role at ESACH means I'm involved in planning all our communication efforts within our active platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and coordinating our team and partners to raise awareness around issues that are important to us. Highlight relevant networking and skill developing opportunities, and make sure all our language and visual presence is in line with the values that we have, which you can see on the screen. So you have here a little overview of our journey since ESACH Foundation in 2017 as part of, or in preparation of the European Year of Cultural Heritage in 2018. And I joined ESACH on the cusp of graduating from my master's in World Heritage Studies at WTO Cottbus-Senftenberg in Germany, and that was September 2020. So it's a little bit before the first ESACH talks that happened in October 2020. You can see before a lot of the bigger engagement opportunities were related to the yearly meetings in person. But of course, this was mid the COVID pandemic when I joined, and ESACH was growing really fast at that moment. We're all aware how our home confinement created an accelerated need for digital interactions in the arts and culture, and ESACH was no exception. They were searching for a volunteer content creator who could put time and effort to help grow the network, and that's when I came in. The first ESACH talks was a success. The small team had secured good speakers and partners, but they didn't have a brand image yet, not enough people to post regularly about it, or to respond if someone contacted us on social media channels. So you get the idea. That's how I came into the team. And 3 of us started actually at the same time, and many other valuable contributors have gone in and out during those past 2 years, bringing in new priorities to the table. Knowledge sharing. So let's think about platforms, more platforms for students to share the research. Maybe someone really cared more about bringing dialogue, so we can create breakout rooms during our talks to have more discussions between speakers and attendees, and do it intergenerational too. Or a priority might have been geopolitical boundaries, not to have that as a main challenge within us. So we could change our message, make it clearer that ESACH has Europe as a hub, but our core is inclusive, and we're always looking for a diverse team and diverse members and contributors. Or sustainability. Let's go beyond the cultural parameters and embrace topics of culture, nature, and green responsibility, the SDGs. And then also technology. What are work optimization apps we could use, collaboration tools that we haven't tried, which skills are emerging professionals in cultural heritage learning or should be learning, and how we can facilitate that. How can we make them more accessible for our network? So those are the things that we've been thinking about. And it's not been all easy. Obviously, we've had many limitations, especially because it's an emerging network founded on pure volunteer work. So as a result, there are time periods or events that might end up being better supported than others, and that's inevitable. But that's why we're also always open to receiving new team members, to receiving feedback, and we encourage everyone within the ESACH members network to tag us on social media, send us their projects that need dissemination, so we are aware of more messages that we can spread. So the interaction is not only from us to the members, but from everyone within the network with each other. So if you haven't yet, we'd love for you to check out all the work we do. You can see our handles here, our website, and we'd also love for you to join us. Okay.
I'd like to address the question in the chat, Laura. Yeah, there's no membership fee for our membership, so you can register as soon as you want. And so hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be a part of this discussion. Thank you for having me, for sharing my experience here at ESACH. And I'm Vibhuti Yadav, and I'm working here as a web editor. And my role basically includes coordinating with the events, digital media and admin team on our current schedule, and basically regularly updating our website for that. I also, very much like Amelia, joined ESACH right in the middle of the COVID pandemic. That's around the same time that the need for cultural education institutions also shifted to digital world, and it basically rose. being with ESACH helped me not just become a member of this transition into digital media, but also this group of budding cultural professionals. And since we're talking about skills, I'd recommend to those who are interested in digital media to go ahead and start spreading your views on digital media as much as possible. Learn new skills such as even website designing. It's getting more and more easier to be able to do that. We at ESACH also believe it's a wonderful example here. Everybody is reiterating. We need each other's support and can only tackle each and every situation in cultural heritage through collaboration. So with each and every member, committee member, and the members in ESACH, we at ESACH continuously endeavor to bring you these youth empowering events, ideas, and skills. So if you aren't already here, I encourage you to register. As ESACH members, Serena has been so nice enough to give you a link in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Vibhuti. I don't know if you want to address the question right away or maybe during the tour de table, but Pashalia would like to know that can they contribute even from the distance as members of ESACH? So
yes,
can you just quickly comment on that and then?
So you can register as a member from wherever you are. We at ESACH in the core committee also are from all over the world. So that's the distance is not a problem.
Right, it's very digital as all days talks. And finally, last but not least, within this part of inspirational pitches, we have Evangelia Pachalido. She's from Europa Network Association Climate Action Community Steering Group. I hope I pronounced your name well, good. And whenever you want, please start and share your thoughts and ideas with us.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with all of you, and thank you for having me. My name is Evangelia Paschalidou, and I'm a member of Europa Steering Group for Climate Action. I'm also active with Museums for Future. We're about to launch the Greek chapter, and currently I'm also researching for my PhD proposal. There are so many thoughts around the question of today's event, where I was asked to share my personal experience in ending up with Europeana. So I came down to the three following points that at the same time are also characterizing the climate action steering group of Europeana. So first of all, embrace interdisciplinarity, and we have heard the buzzword already a lot from the previous pitches. The cultural heritage field, though, is made up of many different functions involving different professionals. These professionals may come from all sorts of backgrounds, from photography to IT to business management and history, to just name a few of them. There are multiple paths to bring you in the field, not just one. For instance, I got my bachelor's in law. I did a master's in law and business economics while writing my thesis in environmental law, when I felt like I needed to dig deeper into sustainability. So I went to pursue another master's in environmental management and policy in Sweden. However, during all my studying years back in Greece, I was working with simultaneously in digital documentation of ancient Greek manuscripts. So it felt like finally all the pieces were falling somehow in place when I decided to write my thesis on the environmental sustainability of digital preservation of cultural heritage. Even though the themes of sustainability and digital transformation are integral to most fields nowadays, I was surprised that the academic research on the sustainability of ICT per se was limited, particularly in the cultural heritage field. But this didn't discourage me. I was determined to continue with my research topic and raising awareness. And this made me realize that speaking multiple professional languages kind of enables you mediate across different professional experts. And that leads to my second point of reaching out to collaborate and to open communicational channels. Whether we are taking action within cultural heritage organizations or educational institutions, their structures are not rigid, but are rather dynamic and can organically be shaped by the urgent needs of humanity. COVID forced the 94.7% of museums globally to close, and with the 40% of them still not having online exhibitions or galleries, we are talking of a lot of new digital assets and data being created and needed to be stored. With the sustainability of this digitalization process becoming more and more relevant, I was directly reaching out to everyone in the cultural heritage and ICT field, even slightly interested into sustainability, just to spark the discussion around the topic and explore potentials of combining forces. And so I realized myself that, and coming to the third point, that the grassroots initiatives are so strong and to be trusted. I was fortunate enough to have come across passionate, driven individuals determined to put all their climate considerations into action in their cultural heritage organization. So I witnessed how the strong will of one or more individuals in communities may ignite gradually deepening shifts, either in training programs, curricula, or in designing bold sustainability strategies in cultural heritage organizations, or in managing your organization's carbon footprint, like the green team that initiated the discussion within Europa. So manifesting your personal passion as an individual may have multi-level ripple effects on a broader scale. And this is exactly what we have been working for in the Climate Action Steering Group of Europa. That feels like a natural habitat now for me to be in. It's a diverse group of professionals, all motivated by the urgent climate action needed to be taken, starting from the practices of Europa itself and the way they're managing their digital material. Even though the group is only 4 months old, has already gone a long way by shaping a really dynamic agenda and drawing the communication and technology communities together, with some events to be launched after September. We do believe that the culture can be the catalyst for a long-term response to the climate emergency that we are facing. This response can perfectly be led by the cultural heritage professionals, all of us, by safeguarding a future in order to pass down the cultural heritage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eva. That was very interesting. I'm glad to hear there is another lawyer among us, since also my career started in law, and I ended up in cultural heritage management and protection. I'm also very glad that you mentioned personal passion, because of this passion to share our ideas and thoughts. We are running teeny tiny bit behind the schedule, but I would like to invite you to stay with us, so we will continue. I would also like to let the speakers know that if for some reason some of them can't make it till the end, we completely understand, but we hope that you're gonna stick with us till the closing words and finish line, so we can truly be together in this event. After listening to all these inspirational speeches, I would like to present two projects, to concrete programs that have already started. And the first one of them is Charter Program. We have with us project manager Herman Bashion Mendolikia. So Herman or Herman, whatever you want, please enlighten us on the Charter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jasna. I hope you can hear me. Good morning, good day, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Europa Nostra and ESACH for the invitation. We are very glad as Charter to take part in this webinar and to contribute to this reflection on the skills needed for young people, young professionals working in the cultural heritage sector. I will try my best to stay within the limit of time to present the charter project. I will make a general presentation as we are still in the first period of the project and we don't have yet results on the digital and green skills needed, but I have some points that maybe we can raise in the discussion time. So what is a charter? Charter is an acronym that stands for Cultural Heritage Actions to Refine Training, Education and Roles. It's an Erasmus Plus funded project, officially started last year in January 2021 and will last for 4 years until December 2024. So we did 1.5 years of the project until now. As you can see in the first slide, we have a big consortium, a very large consortium with 21 full members, 7 affiliated members, 19 associated members. Among them, we have different European networks. So we can say that the consortium covered the whole European landscape, the whole Europe. And we have represented here different stakeholders from the cultural heritage sector. We have education and training providers, meaning different universities in different countries in Europe. We have industry, meaning those that employ professionals in the cultural heritage sector, public bodies and agencies, local administrations, regions, Department of Ministries of Culture and so on, and several organizations of professionals and networks. What is the mission and what are the main objectives of Charter? I won't be entering too deep into this, but Charter wants to identify skills shortages and mismatches in the cultural heritage sector to bridge the gap between education and occupational systems. Doing what? Clarifying occupational roles and activities, identifying curricula and learning outcomes, analyzing challenges and opportunities for the cultural heritage sector due to climate change, green transition, circular economy, digitizations, some of the challenges that are bringing us here together today, with the main aim to build a strong and durable cultural heritage skills alliance in the future. And how does this consortium work, this big consortium? I'm gonna skip this in or talk very quickly about this. We have a number of work packages with different institutions taking care, in charge of these work packages. The main one working right now is the work package 2, 3, and 4, with the analysis of the cultural heritage competencies and the occupational profiles, the analysis of the education and training sector, and the challenges that bring all these aspects together in work package 4. And finally, in the future, the alliance and sustainable strategies. What is our, how do we collect, the, let's say, the data? How do we work in order to make this happen? For us, it's very important to listen to the sector, to get in touch with the sector. As you have seen in the first slide, our consortium provides already a big variety of perspectives and expertise, but the sector is large, is huge, and the needs are multiple and diverse. So what we need to do is listen to each other, exchange with other stakeholders, get feedback, and we are organizing several meetings. Unfortunately, as you all know, last year, 2021, due to the pandemic, we were not able to organize face-to-face meetings. We were only able to do it, to do one in Bilbao in the Basque Country, but all the other ones were converted into online meetings. And that's doable, but as you know, not really good in terms of progressing with real work. Luckily, this first semester in 2022, we were able to speed up our work and to meet several times with all the professionals involved in the project. We have several other events that will be happening this year. In autumn, we have several regional workshops, the first one in September in Bremen, second one in Alentejo in Portugal, third one in Tuscany. And important to say here that we will have a consortium conference in end of November in Rome that will be focused on the digital skills needed in the cultural heritage sector. And next year, June 2023, we will hold our conference in Gothenburg, and this one will be focused on green transition, climate change, and the skills needed in the cultural heritage sector related to these challenges. And what else we do? We do several surveys. I know at the moment we are all overwhelmed by surveys, but they are very important for us to get data and to make our research working. We have surveys on occupational profiles, on innovative emerging curricula, one on understanding the cultural heritage sector dynamics, and one on job vacancies, trying to understand what is requested now in the job vacancies, in the current job vacancies. Then we also do in-depth interviews with different stakeholders, and we are also programming interviews with students and young professionals, made as well by students and young professionals. We have a very important focus on the regional ecosystem exploration, trying to understand how the cultural heritage sector works in different regions in Europe. We did already a study visit in the Basque Country, one in Sibiu in Romania, one in Milan with the Veneranda Fabbrica del Duomo, and we have other ones coming this autumn, and the last one in Västra Götaland, the region of Gothenburg in Sweden, next year. We already have some initial results that I invite you to enter in our website, and you can download our first 2 reports. The first one made by Work Package 2, A New Landscape for Heritage Professions, and the second one made by Work Package 3, more focused on education. Beyond the deliverables that, if you are familiar with European projects, we are requested to do deliverables, we always think that it's important to go beyond deliverables and also produce outputs and other outputs and outcomes. And we are producing some toolkit. And for example, we have produced one recently that is a self-assessment toolkit to understand the profiles and skills that we have present in one organization, in our staff, in our group of workers. And this self-assessment toolkit is also available in our website in the resources, and you can download it. And we tested this toolkit recently in the European Heritage Label Award Forum, and I have to say it was quite successful as a session. Just to conclude, because we are running out of time, inviting you to join us to continue this conversation on understanding what are the skills and competencies needed in the cultural heritage sector for the future. You can join the community, the Charter community. You can download our resources. You can subscribe to our newsletter. You can participate in our surveys. And I will leave for the discussion maybe some more specific issues about green and digital transition. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Herman. While you were talking about so many things different, you also mentioned interviews with students and young professionals. So I think it's safe to say that you can also rely on this network if you need any inspired young professionals talking about their work and their job. And now we have Else Goetjes. She's from the project The Future is Heritage Summit, and also for Ufred Geterland. I pronounced that very poorly, I'm very sorry, but please share your thoughts and ideas with us, Else.
No problem, no problem. Yes, my name is Else Goetjes, and I'm working at the Heritage organization in the Netherlands, a small one, a regional one. Thank you for the invitation to tell something about the Future is Heritage and the summit we are organizing this September. And I try to keep it short because we are running out of time, and it's no problem because you can later on look on our website, and it's like an invitation I will share with you. The Future is Heritage is an international network and platform, and we aim to strengthen the position of young people working in the heritage field throughout Europe. Equal cooperation between young and established professionals is our goal. And together with partners all over Europe, we've been building a network and platform since 2018. I think you see here the things we did the last years. Also, we had some problems, of course, with COVID, but still have built a network. And this year, we contribute to the European Year of Youth, of course. And we also are involved with the policy paper on European heritage. And we collaborate with Europa Nostra and ESACH and some other partners. And in September, we will host an in-person event. And this event will be hosted semi-parallel to the annual European Cultural Heritage Summit organized by Europa Nostra and its partners in Prague. And we will start one day earlier on Saturday, the 23rd. And at some points, we will joining Europa Nostra's big summit, but we are on our own with you guys, young professionals in heritage, volunteers, and also established professionals to join us. Last month, we are working with an international project team with young professionals and volunteers. Also, 2 members from ESACH joined the team. And we already had a lot of digital meetings. And this team decides which teams we are going to present on the summit and which are programmed. And they already have made a nice program. Some of the teams are here to see personal development for working in heritage is one of the important things. Bert Ludwig, director from European Heritage Volunteers, will join us there, and also a young cultural heritage professional, Marja Konjevic, from about tourism and management. Contested heritage is one of the teams. Heritage in times of conflict, earlier mentioned, and Elisabeth Corinth, vice president of Blue Shield Germany, will join us, and also Anastasia Pudilina, from originally from Ukraine, and she's a master's. She does master's studies, World Heritage Studies in Germany, and also Heritage and Inclusivity is one of the teams chosen by the project team. And last but not least, we are organizing a masterclass about green and digital transition in heritage in collaboration with Europa Nostra and Climate Heritage Network Youth Forum. This is the program in general, still a bit on the construction because we are still planning some aspects and some dates, but here you see a brief draft of the program. And during the event, we want to establish an environment where new and established professionals work together on equal basis and solutions orientated. And we work with work sessions, brainstorms, discussions, but also having visits, excursion to Theresienstadt, and there is a lot of space of networking possibilities for young professionals who join us, but also to network with established professionals. And of course, we like to hear your voice and your opinions on the themes of the summit. This is my last sheet. We like to invite you all to come, and the applications are open right now today. So you can subscribe for the Future Heritage Summit 2002, and you can find more information on our websites. And next week we will spread the word on social media, LinkedIn, and so on. So we hope to meet you in Prague.
Thank you very much, Elsa. So that's an amazing opportunity, right, for us to meet right after summer and to continue discussing everything that we've been talking about in the last, hour and a half. And now, having closed this, let's say, introductory part, I would like to open tour de table. The thing is that you're so well digitally equipped and fast that you've been answering all your questions in the chat, so there is a little that I can do at this point regarding the comments. However, just the last one for Elsa, Laura is asking how much does it cost, the overall participation in the event, if you have an estimation or you can share some information about that.
Yeah, it's free to join, so no costs, but you have to pay the stay and the traveling. And there are some fees for if you have need for traveling or staying. And that information you can find on the website.
Thank you. Thank you. That's amazing. So yeah, we also had question to Herman. I'm not sure did he answer it, but
not
Laura
yet.
is...
Yes, I was trying to do it via chat, but I can reply here. It's mostly for organizations, not institutions, but organizations. But we welcome as well interest from individuals. Definitely, I shared my email as well in the chat. Otherwise, you can get in touch also through the forms that we have in the website.
Thank you. That's amazing. And all throughout the morning, chat has been buzzing about being a member of ESACH, which I strongly encourage you to do. We have many ESACH members here. So between Sorina, Carlota, and Vibhuti, I think that you've covered all the basic information, and then people can start joining. Now, I would like to ask a question of my own. So having all that in mind and being aware of all the shortcomings of the curricula, and being aware of the fact that we're still kind of emerging, what we are always emerging in terms of being understood maybe by the institutions and by public administration, I would like to ask you, what is your opinion, but also what is your experience in that regard, having to talk to public administration with every project, or are you oriented more on the NGO sector, knowing that, well, stakeholders that are coming from the public administration can be quite slowly in their response and very, very procedural, let's say it like that. So what are your thoughts? Let's say, Tiago, so how did you manage to get those schools to participate and those students and professors? Was it hard to reach them, or is there some sort of already an understanding of the importance of what we are trying to do here? And then later on, anybody can join.
Yeah, in my case, I was doing an internship in the public administration, so in the municipality. So that made it easier regarding the municipality itself, because the municipality here rules the schools. So the contacts were more directly, but as you said, it was all a bit slow because things take a lot of time in terms of public administration, and it was not easy as well to put it all together. And of course, the students and teachers at first were not that open to participate in the project because it was something a bit new for them, but then it went well. But yes, in the second edition of the project that we run this last academic year, which ended in last month, it was harder because we tried to engage more schools and more students outside of the municipality. And since we were talking about different municipalities or say different public administrations, it was hard to engage the different stakeholders because processes take a lot of time and they were not ready. So things did not went that well as we wished it to.
Yeah, and Sarah, for instance, what's your experience and thoughts? Do you have also that feeling that there is a kind of a wall when we are talking about participating the public administration, or is there an understanding from their side? So let's say your project. Please turn on the mic. You are muted. Thank you.
Right, sorry. Thank you. Well, talking about my experience, our experience, I actually have very mixed feelings because when it was about doing the expedition on the Sentiero Italia, it was a national project, and we were so happy that we were able to build everything from scratch, meaning that we were able also to create a relation with institutions from nothing. So the project actually had a bigger credibility, and we had so much hope from this, because everything went so well. As I was saying before, we were able to get all the objectives that we had set ourselves. And now, so we were very enthusiastic about keeping on working in this field and applying this format in a small scale, because of course the experience, it was a beautiful experience to do on a national scale, but as much as you can do it well, it was still superficial, you know, because we were moving from one territory to another. So we wanted to switch the perspective and work very tight in small territories. And to be honest, so far it resulted very difficult to receive an actual support from the public sector, and this for us is connected to various reasons, like a lack of resources, of course. So we saw that there is a real lack of resources, like economical resources, but on the other side, there is a lack of vision and skills, because if you have visions and skills, you find a way to reach the fundings. But we saw that public administrations, especially in the territories, so small administrations, really lack on the skills for building projects, for finding to reach fundings. So it's very hard for them to collaborate with other realities that have ideas, like in our case as for Sentiero. But on the other side, when you can have very small realities with very good skills, very good visions, and that's where we want to collaborate, but it's a long way still, and I really see it as a big problem in the inter areas of and the highlands of Italy. That's our.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
No, but it is very interesting that on the national level you got the support, but then coming to the roots, it sounded like it would be easier and not harder for you to get. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about a bit, and that maybe is a natural follow up to my question, is what about, so this was inter stakeholders, let's say private public, but what about intergenerational? How is your opinion, or also your experience, both Sara, Diego, but also I would like to hear from someone from ESACH, since it's like a youth organization, youth association, so there it's students based with young professionals. So Carlota, for instance, was it hard to find an ally at the beginning, or were you instantly got in touch with let's say already established cultural heritage professionals who understood the importance and the power of youth movements?
Your question is tricky. Yes, we have always had support. In fact, you know, ESACH wouldn't, as a network, we are so vague because we are not based in any place that it would have been impossible to exist without having support. Initially, it started with ICOMOS Germany. They were the first supporter of ESACH, and then we've been supported by universities, by Europa Nostra, by different organizations. However, I don't think this has been an easy task. I think one of the big challenges we have found is that there are established institutions that are okay with having the voice of youth, but no more than a voice, let's say. And so to actually be in a position where we can take it further than just giving up an opinion, but actually having some kind of agency, this is much more of a challenge. So I think this is what one of the main challenges we have now is, to actually be able to get into action. It's not just about being listened to.
So rather than only a voice, but also a vote, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A vote.
Yes. And I mean, in this, for example, Europa Nostra were amazing because they really helped us to be a part of Europa Nostra. They really encouraged me to be run for a council member position. In this, they have been really amazing, but I don't think that this is a general approach that we can say that institutions generally are doing this. There is a bit of a tendency to say, give us your thoughts, but then what happens with our thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. Eva, your experience on the topic, do you also feel like there is some sort of intergenerational gap or misunderstanding while communicating? You are dealing with a quite innovative subject, right? Everything has to do with the climate change, sustainability, the way we want to transform the way of life. And then with all that, you put also cultural heritage into the mix. So is it something that other generations or well, less young, as Nashka would say, understand? Or do you need to spend some extra time, trying to get their approval?
From my personal experience from within the Europa Steering Group, I would say that the average age is over 40 for sure, of the people who are really interested to get involved in their spare time, aside of all the other like tasks for Europeana Pro and run the foundation, and put this extra work into the climate steering group. And maybe I think that this is mainly due to their like experiential understanding of the urgency of the matter. And I don't know if it plays any role, but most of them are projecting like, especially when it comes to climate action, from within their cultural heritage field of activity, they are projecting their kids or children's future and how they would like at least to have a tiny contribution from their current occupation to that. So I would say that I feel like I'm kind of experiencing an intergenerational gap, but on the other side, at least within Europeana, there are not that many young people interested in joining the steering group within the organization, maybe, or they didn't have the time, or they weren't well informed. But at the same time, being also a member of Museums for Future, I would say that there is the exact opposite age range. We are mostly under 30, and there is much more, let's say, interest and hype and energy from younger people going into this kind of cultural activism. So also I would say is the institutional context, or the context of these different organizations playing in a role, the one being super institutional, kind of bureaucratic, I would say, emerging from an EU body, while the other one coming as a side organization after the Fridays for Future that started as a purely grassroots kind of movement.
Well, that's amazing. Carlota, did you want to add something? You were nodding. You were okay. You were just nodding. So the thoughts and experience are the same. Herman, so I wanted to ask you, so you have a lot of members. I personally know some of them. I actually been in touch with you also on behalf of my organization where I work here in Madrid. But then what is happening after 2024? Do you have a plan to continue? What are your thoughts on how you can continue the work and present the results, but also to have a steady influence within the sector, being the voice of younger, of experts, of what is needed within the sector, and confronting with the other outsiders, let's say it like that.
Thanks, Yasna. I think we have ahead a lot of challenges. The first one probably is to break many walls that exist in our sector, in the cultural heritage sector. Whenever we do meetings in different countries and we gather professionals coming from different subsectors or from different fields. I'm thinking about, for example, researchers on one side or professionals on the other side. The first thing they say to us, we never had the opportunity to meet each other and to talk to each other. So we still have a lot of visible, invisible borders or walls between those working in cultural heritage from the academic sector, those working the cultural heritage from the professional sector, those working the cultural heritage from the local administration, and so on. So we have this challenge already in our consortium. So I can tell you that from a management point of view, this is a very interesting process because we have all these members together. So as you were saying at the beginning, the time for some is very slow to do things, for others is very quick. So we need to adapt to each other. So I think that one of the results will be in the future to have a better dialogue between the different professionals working in the sector, to understand the needs and challenges that we all face and try to support each other. Then on a practical level, we will have to design and propose 8 new emerging innovative curricula, trying to bridge this gap between the educational systems and the professional reality. Because many times we have people studying things that then are not needed in the labor market and so on. So the main challenge is to create this alliance. But before creating the alliance, we really need to understand each other, to gather people, to let them enter into a conversation mode that can make the sector of cultural heritage stronger as an economical sector in Europe and beyond Europe. So this, I would say, is probably the main challenge. And then if I may just comment something on the intergenerational, when it comes to skills, I think this is a very key point because we definitely need to learn new skills, but probably we also need to relearn old skills. And this is pretty much in line with the green transition and climate change. We have a lot of old traditional hand skills that have always been connected to the green agenda. And probably we need to listen to those who knows, who have those skills, and make this intergenerational dialogue as well in terms of skills and competencies.
Thank you very much, Herman. Laura is adding that the financial border is also a big of a challenge that I think we can all agree. And then just sort of wrapping up all this, I would like you to help me with my closing words by just going around the table and quickly saying what practical things you think that we as heritage lovers, as in one point Carlotta said, can do to further develop this sector. So apart from the understandings of the importance of digital and green technologies and the way that we see the world, what are the practicals? Like, what can we do today? What can we do this weekend that can help a teeny tiny bit in this process of changing our societies and the planet, because we are in urgent need of that. So anyone can start. Elsa, maybe you wanna? And then we have a question from the audience.
Oh, I found it a very hard question, of course. I think we all do. I'm not sure. I'm going to friends in the north of the Netherlands this weekend, and we are going to camp with friends, and we want to put a fire, but then I thought fires, that's not so good for nature and for our planet. So maybe I have to stop the fire. But heritage-wise.
Very practical. And
It's
very
hard.
green also, camping. That's amazing. Sarah? And you are muted again, sorry.
As always. Now it's a hard one, but I would say for me, it's about, also never losing hope, because as we were saying from the beginning, there are so many challenges and so much to do. Sometimes it's very overwhelming, but, being, in a webinar like this one, is about exchanging perspective and feeling all together, as we are all in the same direction and helping each other to do the best we can and keep on learning. So keeping open to learn from each other. So even from a weekend, meeting someone, talking with someone on the streets, it's always enriching. So not being closed in our mindset, in our knowledges, but also always feeling open to welcome new ideas.
Maybe I
Thank
can
you.
Add something else. Yeah, I think also heritage is so strong for identity. So if people are more aware of the environment, the heritage around them, maybe sometimes still in the ground, they also feel more responsible for their environment and for the place they live. So I think heritage can really strengthen that idea and also make people come in action, like because of the heritage.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much also for additional comment. Tiago?
Yeah, so I will be more poetic. I don't know, but I think it's really important to dream, to be creative, and we shouldn't be afraid to take the risk, because we only can do and can innovate and contribute to the change if we take a risk and try to do things different.
Amazing. I'm writing all of this down because that's going to be my finishing line, my punchline, because I think we are all kind of in the same page. Herman, I have you next on my screen, so your ideas and thoughts and practical things.
Well, it's very important to give value to people as transmitters of knowledge. As we are talking about knowledge and cultural heritage, it's important to give the right value to people. And just to, I don't know, to support Va Sentiero project, more walking experiences, to know better also the territory, the landscape, the geography. As Nesca said at the very beginning, cultural and natural heritage are one issue. We need to see it as an holistic, in an holistic way. They are not separated. So when we talk about cultural heritage, we're also talking about natural heritage, and we need to be more close to our territories. And by walking them, that's a good method.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to know your surroundings. Vibhuti?
Hi. For me, it's collaborate. I think it's really necessary for everyone to be open to opinions, but also to collaborate as much as possible, because I think because of COVID and getting all digital, we're just getting fixed in our houses and not moving out. So just collaborate, not through projects, but through more ideas which can make you physically meet people, because I think we need the physical connection as well, as much as digital.
Thank you very much. Eva?
Yes, I wanted to second Tiago and Sarah's points, but also stress the practical side of the action that we really, really need to take, since our timing margins are getting narrower and narrower. And so I would just go by thinking climate action first before any strategies, cultural heritage strategies that we are designing in everything we do, either in our personal lives or in our professional lives, putting climate action kind of first, like this being the context in everything we're doing, since if we don't have a livable planet in a couple of 10 years from now, then I don't really see the point of over trying preserving anything else. So yeah, always on the optimistic note and side, of course.
Thank you for clearing that up, because yes, I mean, it is quite an important, and we are now at a turning point within the societies, but also on a level of the whole planet. So I think that we really have to interiorize that first thought of sustainable, of green, and then having in mind these values, go further down the line with our plans. And Carlota, finally, some thoughts and ideas?
Well, thank you. I think, my God, the ideas that everyone said, I completely agree. Love the thing of Tiago of taking risks. This is true. If we cannot take risk, what's the point if we are only on the safe side? But I think we just have to keep doing what we're doing, no? Like to keep being the annoying person that's talking about climate action when no one else wants, and pestering our families to be more sustainable and talk about heritage. So I think we are already on the good track. We just have to keep going.
Thank you. Tatinda, from the audience, you have raised your hand. Can you? Hi, hello. Very nice to meet you.
Hello, hi everyone.
We can hear you perfectly.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm particularly happy and actually excited with this whole initiative and the different initiatives that are being done by the different organizations which are represented here. So one of the things that I missed out throughout the whole discussion was the role of the local community, because I believe that, you know, heritage, when we talk of heritage, we also need to talk of the communities. What is the role of communities in as far as heritage management, heritage conservation is concerned? So I can say from my background, I am from Africa, and I think I'm the only one from Africa within this section. And I feel like I have to be involved in such, you know, different meetings which ESACH is holding, because I feel like whatever changes that are being done in as far as heritage management is concerned, from a European perspective, can also affect the changes that are being done here in Africa. So yeah, I don't know what are your thoughts in as far as local communities, you know, engagement is concerned. And also I'm actually happy that we have got some lawyers who have got interest in cultural heritage, and I would like to make this one as a courtesy call to those lawyers who are within in our midst, for you guys to work with us from here, you know, from Africa, because most of us, we don't have such people with a background in law. And because of such, you know, heritage is being mismanaged, and we don't have that proper understanding of heritage from a legal framework or a legal perspective. So I feel like I'll drop my email so that maybe we can have this conversation with people who have got this background in law. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vinda, and thank you for raising the African voice within this community. In any of the participants is willing to start first, or shall I say who has the honor to start? I was thinking while Tatinda was talking about local communities that we have two opposite projects. Tiago on the one side was very local, Faro municipality, and then Herman on the other, who is well, a European project. So can you share light on the other perspective? Tiago was mentioning that it was quite difficult then to going from local to global, but Herman, how do you go from global to local?
Yes, now I activated the mic. I think we always use this term, no, that is glocal. We cannot understand the global without the understanding of the local. So even if a charter is is a European project, we are absolutely aware of the need to understand the different dynamics and different realities and different needs in the cultural heritage sector from the local communities. This is why, for example, the regional aspect for us is very key. One of our members is ERRIN, that is the European Research and Innovation Network of the regions, of European regions. And we have 6 regions, sorry, that we are analyzing in detail. And they give us different results. As I said at the beginning, even the laws are different in each region. The system of governance is different. The education system is different. So in order to give ideas and recommendations at the European level, we need to explore first the diversity of our landscape. And this is getting in touch with the local communities.
Thank you. And on the other point that Jacinta was making, Eva, since we can't talk about climate action, climate change, just looking at Europe, we have to look globally, we have to look the whole planet. So what is your experience in including different perspectives from different continents, from different regions? How do you work on that? How do you tackle this issue?
But also to, let's say, to put in context our current meeting or this whole discussion, I think that most of our initiatives or organizations here are active within the European context. Without this, no way, meaning that we are overseeing, obviously, the rest of the world and the cultural contributions of the rest of the world. But I would say that from my personal experience, from the research that I did, trying to incorporate communities in decision-making of cultural heritage organizations, I would say that not even in Europe, we are actually progressing research on that aspect as well, that cultural heritage organizations are quite, I would say, secluded from the communities or the public. They are supposed to be there to serve and communicate the culture they're safeguarding or the knowledge that this culture is bearing. So I mostly came across in my research with cultural heritage organizations looking internally in their own activities, and only recently, while my case study was the Finnish Heritage Agency in Helsinki, I came across some projects they were doing, trying to take into consideration the impact of different cultural heritage projects. So in conclusion, I'm just trying to say that it's an excellent point, but right now here in this forum, I'm taking into consideration the limitations of all of us being active in Europe, and not even in Europe, this kind of projects are well established, or these perspectives are well adopted, bringing in communities and community perspectives, I mean, in the organization's decision-making. So it will be a super interesting aspect to look into and research further in the future.
Great. So we have a long way ahead of us, but I'm very glad that we started. Unless any other participant or speaker wants to raise their hand, I would like to try to sum up the things that we were saying today, just also not to abuse of your time, since we've already passed the limit previously established. No, during the discussion, I couldn't help but notice, and I really like the idea of digital as a tool, digital as a way to do something, because yeah, I'm still very much relying on analytical, even though this is a digital forum and we are so lucky to have this opportunity to share our thoughts from the conference from our houses. I couldn't help but notice that everybody was repeating, and we shall meet in person, and we shall continue this discussion in person. Maybe also the September is a perfect opportunity for that. But also, I'm very pleased to share the ideas that you were having, that we have to learn the lessons, and then through the digital create a green future, to create a better future for all of us, coming both from cultural sector, cultural heritage management, people from more of a natural sciences and sustainability. But all of us together, I believe that we have the basic understanding of the importance of both parts, right, of the culture and of the natural, of green and of digital. And we are all very eager to continue our journey on that path and to discover. I believe that we have the power is with us. The youth movement and the youth strength is in not being afraid. Tiago is in taking chances. Carlota is in joining huge initiatives. Herman, it's in trying to liaison sustainable with digital and cultural. Eva, I'll say this is all perfect opportunity to see each other in Prague. And Sarah, thank you very much for walking that huge path, and for discovering all of it, and for also showing us that we have to go to the root of the problem, to root of the initial knowledge. As Herman said, we have to relearn a lot of things that we've forgotten, thinking that, yeah, well, we have Google in our pockets, so why bother? But I think that we have to bother, that it is our job to push ourselves to go a bit over the limit that we think we have. And in fact, it is only just the beginning of our ideas and of our strength, and that we can do so many things together. I would like to thank Manon and Miruna and other members of Europa Nostra for being with us all this time, for sticking till the end. Also, ESACH for an amazing input. I've seen a lot of links shared in the chat. Please click on all of them, open your windows, open your hearts, open your minds. And I am sure that idea of and ideas and collaboration will come flooding in. And last but not the least, someone was asking, I'm quite confident that our participants won't mind if we share the presentations, so that we can keep in touch. And I would like also to repeat again, in mind that this is not a one-time thing, this is not one-time event. And even after this event, and even after this whole year of youth passes, we are still young, and we still have a lot of things to do, and a lot of places to be, and a lot of goals to achieve. So thank you very much. Thank you for participants, and thank you for the listeners who stayed with us till the end. And we look forward to seeing you in a live forum, or maybe in some online event that we will organize. So Manon, I think that we can slowly wrap up. Thank you very much again, and hopefully see you soon. In the meantime, have a lovely summer. I'm hoping you're not experiencing the heat wave that we are here in Madrid with 40 something. So enjoy, and then when things cool down a bit, we can continue talking about heritage and climate change and digital and green. Thank you very much. Bye.